Hey y'all, and welcome to Monter's Market, and welcome to the What Would You Make challenge. I am super excited about what I've made for this video today. This video is being hosted by Zana over at OK at Home DIY and Marsha at Marsha's Mush and Stuff, and their guest host is Sandy Lumbermill. All three of these ladies are amazing creators, and I am so excited to be joining with them. So let's get on into my video, and for DIY number 1, I made for you this adorable little Lazy Susan. So in order to make this Lazy Susan, it was super simple. I just took 2 of these wood signs that you can get from the Dollar Tree and one of these wooden Lazy Susans that I got from the Target dollar spot for $3. I really wish I would have got more than one of these whenever they had them, because now I've got a million things that I could think of that I could do with them. So I'm hoping I can find some more. So anyway, I just took these little pictures, and I really didn't even have to do anything to them because of what I'm about to do. So I took some 20 millimeter beads and glued them all around to the edge, and then took the other one, put some hot glue all around the edge of it, and just sandwiched it right down on top of it upside down. And that made the top of my little Lazy Susan. Then I took the actual Lazy Susan and hot glued it to the bottom, and voila, there we go. So I took my white Waverly chalk paint and gave everything a really good coat. Now I did not paint the Lazy Susan itself, and I'm glad I didn't, because once it was finished and you pick it up and look at the bottom, it really looks like it was professionally made. So I'm really proud of this one. So as you see, I'm really giving in between those beads a good painting and making sure that you can't see any of that. Finished painting the top, and then I go in with the stencil that I got from Plaid when they sent me my welcome box to become an ambassador for them. If you have not seen that video, I will link it below where you can see it. Then I take my Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and I stencil on right smack in the middle so that I can figure out where I want to put my other ones. Now I'm just kind of playing with these handles. You know, do I want to just put one stencil down? Do I want to do more? Do I want to cover the whole tray? Well, all I ended up doing was 3. And I just stacked them right on top of each other, and I love the way it turned out. I thought it turned out really, really cute. So once I got all 3 of my stencils painted and they dried, I went in and called myself distressing it, but I ended up putting way too much paint on the top. So you will see me take my brush while it was still wet with that white chalk paint and go back over the top of it. I tried sanding it down, and that didn't get it enough. So I just grabbed my paintbrush that was still wet and painted over the top of it and just toned it back down. And then I was happy with the way that it turned out. So I ended up going all around the edges and across the top and just making it look a little bit more acceptable, or acceptable for what I was looking for. Once I did that, all I had to do is place my handles on there. Now, when you want to put these handles on, it's so much easier if you drill you some little pilot holes. That's going to make sure that you don't split your wood, and your screws are going to go in the first time. Super duper easy. And once I got my handles placed, that was it. I was done, and I absolutely fell in love with the way this Lazy Susan turned out. It is so cute, and it is such a smooth spin to be a $3 Lazy Susan, and I am just tickled pink with it, and I love the way it turned out, and it goes perfect in my little farmhouse kitchen, and I love it, and I hope you love it too. So make sure you leave me a comment down in the comment section and let me know what you think about it. I would say it's probably about 12 inches if I were to measure it. And I want to say I did measure back at Christmas time. You know, they put these signs out at the Dollar Tree every season. Same little round sign, just something different. Now, DIY number 2, y'all. I am so stinking excited about. I found it at Kirklands for $130. Are you kidding me? There was no way I was paying $139 for it. So I went to my Home Depot. I got that piece of plywood that you see right there. And my buddy Dylan cut it right down the middle for me so that I could make 2 signs. You know how much I paid for that wood? $5. Because he cut it in half, that's only $2.50 for the sign itself. Now for my frame, I got a 1x4, 8 foot, and guess what I paid for it? $2.50. So I have $5 in this $130 sign. And unless you want to count the paint and the stain, which might be $1, maybe, and my stencil film might be 50 cents, you can say I've got less than $6, $7 in this $130 sign that Kirkland's was selling. And I fell in love with it. And I'm so excited about the way it turned out. But let me show you how I made it. So I wanted the mitered edges. Now, the one in the picture did not have mitered edges, but I wanted mine to have them. So I cut it myself. And then my granddaughter Macy helped me to sand it down. Now, this week, I have several of my grandkids. I've got my Georgia babies are down here, and I've got a couple of my other ones down, and we've just had a blast this week going to VBS and come home getting in the pool or going to the beach, going to the movies, just all kind of stuff. So they helped me to get everything sanded down, and this is me just kind of laying it out and making sure that all my cuts are right. And once I made sure that all of my cuts are right, I took it inside and went to painting and staining. Now, to stain my frame, I'm using this Varathane Jacobian wood stain. It's a darker wood stain, and I used the darker wood stain because I knew that I wanted to put the word blessed in the ink color from Waverly, and that's their black. Now, this is Shyla and Chloe and Macy going to town. Now, Macy and Riley helped me paint my backing white with this white Waverly chalk paint. Once we all got in there and got our teamwork done, look how fast it went. It took me, 10 seconds? No, I'm teasing y'all. It really did. It went way fast having all my babies helping me. And you know what? They'll never forget when they spent that week at Monner's and helped her make that sign. Now, that was just me laying it out to see what it looked like, and I was very pleased with it. So I took my stencil film that I got off of Amazon, and everything that I can link below will be linked below in my description box. So I took my stencil film, and Chloe is helping me start my Cricut up to cut the word blessed out. Now, I was being cheap and trying to save money, so instead of doing 2 long pieces, I tried to fit it all on one sheet. Now, that don't have anything to do with the reason it tore. The reason it tore was because I cut it too deep. I put it on more instead of just a normal setting and just cut it too deep. But it's fine. It wasn't no big deal. So I got my measurements right where I wanted everything. And I laid my stencil down with the help of my girls. And I went in with that chalk paint in the color ink. But before I did that, you don't see me doing it on the first part, but you will the second part. Before I put the ink down, I went in with some Mod Podge, like you see me doing right there, and I made sure to go over everything. Now, what that does is it seals your edges in and makes sure that you don't have any bleeds. There we are, just having us a little dance party. We had some music going on in the background, and we was getting down, honey. Again, these kids will never forget this week when we danced and we laughed and we just had a good time. Now, I pulled up a little bit of my paint because I let the stencil stay down too long, but it was an easy fix. You see me just taking a little paintbrush and going in and fixing it up. Now, I did want to distress it down, but I did not want to pull my sander out because it was dark and I didn't want to go back outside. So I just took some of that white Waverly chalk paint and just went right over the top and dusted it a little bit. And it was the perfect distressing. So I went to go put my frame together, And this is me just kind of tacking it down to hold it in place until I got the screws in, because I was doing it by myself with the help of kids. Well, here comes my honey to the rescue. He came home just in time. He helped me to drill my pilot holes. And once he got them drilled, I put me some wood glue on the corner, and we just put some screws in each corner. Then I took the little screws, screwed my backing down, put these little hooks on, and bam, looky yonder, a $5 sign. It's really long. It's like 45 or so inches long, and I don't remember the exact measurements, but it's the exact size of the one at Kirklands for $130, and Brenda made it for $5 stinking. Look how rustic that frame looks. That Jacobian pulled out the colors in that wood perfectly, and that's because I used a cheaper wood. Now, when you use a cheaper wood, it's really rustic, and that's exactly what I was going for. But tell me what you think down in the comments about my $5 sign. I'm stoked. I still am tickled to death. It's hanging in my den over my couch right now, and it has caused me to redo my whole den in this farmhouse look. Now let's get into DIY number 3. DIY number 3 is very similar to DIY number 1, with the exception that it is not a Lazy Susan, and it's a little bit smaller. So for $3.49, you can get 6 of these little wood rounds. They're 6 inches. I did the same thing. I put down some beads that were a little bit smaller. I think these were only 10 millimeter beads here. And placed them down, sandwiched them together. Look, don't that look like an ice cream sandwich, one of them round ones? Even my grandson thought it looked like one. These little feet, now you can get 5 of them from Hobby Lobby. I used 4. I have several packs, so I will use that other random one. Actually, in my next video, you'll see me use it. That's coming out this Saturday. And then I went in with the same white Waverly chalk paint, painted it up. But this time, instead of using the ink to distress this down, I ended up using the antique wax. And then on that same stencil that you saw me open up, I used a different stencil for the top of this little riser right here. And it's just a little circle, and it looks almost like a tribal sign, really, but I thought it was cute, and it fit this little sign perfectly. Now you see me distressing it down with that, I just said it, antique wax by Waverly. And now I'm going to go in, the antique wax. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to stencil that little circle down. Once I do that, all I have to do is give it a little bit of a sanding with that sanding block that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and voila, it is done. And I could not be more proud of the way this little riser turned out. Look how stinking cute. Now that's my little hand lotion, not hand lotion, but hand soap. And there's plenty of room for your rings or your watch or your jewelry, whatever you want to throw up there, your keys. Now, I don't personally take my rings off when I'm washing dishes, but some people do, and that's a perfect little spot for them. But I thought it was just as cute as it could be, and it matched just like my little Lazy Susan that I made. It matches my new farmhouse kitchen that I did a few months ago perfectly. Now, this DIY number 4 right here was super duper simple. I don't know how long I've had this. I don't even remember where I got it. But I just went in, I removed the feet, and before I removed the feet, I gave it a good cleaning, but I didn't record that. I took my white Waverly chalk paint, and I gave it a really good coat. I wasn't too worried about covering the whole thing because I'm going to take my little hand sander and just distress it down anyway. So that's why you don't see me giving it a good, heavy, thick coat. So I got it sanded down, and once I got it all sanded down, I ended up going back in with a pack of the rub-on transfers that you can get from the Dollar Tree. Now, because I was only using the part on the bottom, I used 2 packs, but I still had plenty left on both of those rub-on transfers, should I say, to use for lots of other projects. But they are super easy to put on. They say rub on, and that's exactly what you do. You just rub them on. Then I took some Mod Podge and I gave it a good seal, and that was to seal my paint, and it was also to glue down those rub-on transfers and make sure they don't go anywhere. Once I did that, it was as simple as adding my feet back to it, screwing them back down, and that was it. So that was just a little bonus there for you. I don't even know if you really could call that a DIY. All I did was gave it a little facelift. But look how stinking cute that turned out. It was in a cabinet, and I literally never used it because it was old and ugly and plain. But now it is proudly sitting out on my hutch in my, like I said a minute ago, newly redecorated dining room. Now, if you are new to my channel, you're recently here, or you're here for the first time today from the playlist, my name is Brenda, but my grandkids call me Monner, so that's where Monner's Market came from. So thank you for stopping by, and I just wanted to tell the ladies thank you for hosting this challenge today. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. Make sure you go to the playlist and show everybody some love. Subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time here at Monner's Market. Bye now.